How do you handle feelings of rejection or why is that word so hard? Unreciprocated love. Okay. The version of me who I am today, I don't handle it because I don't put up with it. Who I was before I healed, before I found myself, before I ascended, oh man, it used to break my heart. Used to really make me feel like I wasn't worthy of love or friendships. I used to be really depressed about it. I used to harp on things. I used to be that woman. This is when I was in my 20s. I used to be that woman who would like replay situations in my head over and over and over and again just so I can be upset over and over and over again. And first of all, that's toxic. It didn't get me anywhere because I was still rejected. I still felt like things weren't being reciprocated, right? Now, who I am today, there's nothing to handle because the minute I feel like things aren't reciprocal, I remove myself. Okay. One lesson that I learned over the course of my healing journey is that everybody may not look at you in the way that you look at them as far as friendships. What do I mean by that? You may see someone as a really close friend, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's how they see you. And I know it sucks. It definitely sucks to realize that that's what's going on. But it's so much easier to accept it for what it is than to try to change it. Because if you try to change it, what you're going to end up doing is overextending. You're going to end up people pleasing, lowering your boundaries because you're trying to fix something that you feel is broken, but it's not broken. That's just what it is. I've learned that a lot of times, maybe even all the time, rejection is just redirection. So instead of you giving your energy to people that aren't giving it back, redirect that energy back into you and making yourself a better woman. And over time, as you keep working on yourself, whether that's losing weight, starting that business, going back to school, getting that higher paying job, saving that money, buying that house, whatever it is that you are focusing your energy on, you're going to end up finding a new circle of people who can meet you where you're at. I think, too, at least for myself, I can only give you guys perspectives from the lens that I see life through, the things that I've gone through. We end up in friendships with people who are like us in some way, shape, or form. We attract what we are. And I know that sucks to hear because you might be like, I'm not like them. There's something about you that is exactly like them. Maybe you're unhealed too. So for myself, I used to be codependent. And so you may be codependent. I was codependent, right? A lot of people are codependent. But you just may not be codependent in the same ways that they are, but they're still codependent just like you. So let me give you an example. I used to need external validation. I used to need friends. I couldn't just sit with self. I couldn't go out by myself. I know that sounds crazy, but that's really how I used to be. I used to need people to like me. I used to need people to validate me. That was very codependent because I couldn't do it for myself. Codependent means something that you can't provide for yourself. So I would look for others to provide that for me. I would look for others to provide that validation for me because I couldn't do it for myself. Well, I tended to attract people who were also codependent. It makes sense. But the way in which they may have been codependent was they're needy. They are takers, right? I was independent in a sense of I can provide for myself. I can, make sure I have food to eat. I can make sure my car is paid. I can make sure I can get to and from work, right? But the people that I would attract were also codependent, but they were codependent for different things. They couldn't provide a way to work, right, for themselves. They couldn't do monetary things for themselves. So they would look for other people to do those things for them. And because I needed friends and because I didn't have boundaries, because I was desperately seeking friendships, I would find myself in friendships where I'm doing the giving, they're doing the taking, but I was also receiving something too. It just wasn't necessarily monetary, right? The things that I was receiving was validation, being told that I'm a good friend, having someone to hang out with because I can't just hang out with myself, right? That's what I mean by you attract what you are. But once I woke up to that and I realized, hey, these friendships no longer serve me. I'm tired of always giving people monetary things and I'm not really getting what I want out of the friendship anymore, which is, in that case, monetary support as well, or support, whatever it may be. I decided to remove myself from it. And so the energy that I was giving other people, I redirected that back to me. So if I was giving people money, well, I put that money back into myself. I hired a personal trainer. I started focusing on my business more. I started making more content, right? And over time, I started to better my life. And since bettering my life, the universe has allowed other people to enter my life who can meet me where I'm at. Now I'm around more disciplined people. Now I'm around more positive people. I'm not around people who need you to provide them with monetary support because they can do that for themselves, like I can do that for myself. But that's also because I changed who I was. I no longer seek external validation. I'm not desperate for friends anymore. I can sit with myself, right? I can go out and enjoy my own company. I can spend time by myself and not feel empty. I'm comfortable with who I am. So things about me have changed. And so my friendships have changed. So that's what I mean by it's redirection. People can only treat you as badly as you let them. And if you make the decision to no longer allow friendships like that to enter into, or if you no longer allow yourself to be a part of those type of dynamics, well, then there's nothing more to handle. You've removed yourself from it, right? But again, we attract what we are. So if you want healthier friendships, that's going to require you to be a healthier person. There's something about you that's off. And I know that sounds crazy. I know you may not want to believe it. That's the ego, that's the pride. But we attract what we are. That is the truth. Because if you were a healed and healthy person, you wouldn't even tolerate that BS in the first place. Would you or would you not? Exactly. So go to counseling, work on yourself, do the inner work. You don't just hop from friendship to friendship. Reflect, figure out where you did go wrong, and what are you going to do to make sure that you don't find yourself in those dynamics again. And I also do think that the friendships that we do find ourselves in, even if they don't last, even if they only work out for a few months, whatever, there's always a lesson to be learned. Ask yourself, what were you looking for? A lot of times, and my counselor told me this, people only stay in situations because they were getting something from it too. And that's where I was able to reflect and realize the reason why I found myself in friendships where people were using me for monetary gain was because I was getting something out of it too. I was getting that validation, that need to feel needed. Sometimes I don't know if it's an older child thing, the oldest child syndrome, but I was the oldest child growing up. And so sometimes we take on, especially like if your parents were always working, you end up taking care of people, right? So I used to watch my younger brother a lot because my mom was always at work. So I was used to always taking care of someone. So, I would cook, I would, help him with his homework because she was always at work. Sometimes I wonder if you're the oldest child in that type of situation, if you carry that into your adult friendships, being the person that is always trying to help others because that's what you grew up doing, right? But we ain't doing that shit no more. People got to help themselves. Cut that shit off. You not nobody's older sibling. You're not the mama. You are just you. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I cannot wait to read what you have to say. Also, you guys make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join the Patreon. The link is down below in my description. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.